Welcome back to SpiritLifter. Our next stop takes us back to East Asia, and finally to the most populated nation on the planet. As is the case with any civilization centered around a river valley, China has a long history of both brewing and distillation that stretches back thousands of years. From rice wine to spirits distilled from millet to modern industrial breweries, the Chinese today consume roughly 20% of all beer worldwide, an astonishing 36 million kiloliters. One of the companies supplying much of that demand comes from Tsingtao on the coast of the Yellow Sea. The brewery, called Tsingtao with a different spelling, traces its origins to 1903, when the city was under occupation by the Navy of Imperial Germany. Initially called the Germania Brauerei Tsingtao, the operation began as a joint effort between British and German businessmen, and would later become the 6th largest brewer on Earth. You probably have even seen their beer on the menu at your local Chinese restaurant. But from the thumbnail, you already knew this video wasn't about their most sold pale lager. Instead, we're trying out their far less noted India Pale Ale. The company describes their I.P.A. as traditionally crafted, brewed to give a uniquely full-bodied hoppy flavor, with a long-lasting subtle bitterness and fruity notes. The bottle adds it is brewed with the finest hops, but despite my digging, I was unable to find out which kind. I'll venture a guess that they're also popular in Central Europe given the Teutonic heritage of the brand. However, there is an undeniable British influence too, as this is a more hop-centered refreshment with an alcohol content of 6.2% by volume. Billed as a hoppy I.P.A., pouring brings forth aromas much more of caramel malt, backed up by notes of citrus. The flavor is much fuller than their iconic pale lager, which I'll attribute to the omission of rice in the grain bill. To expand more into flavor, let's first talk about something to eat. You already knew I was going to recommend Chinese with this, didn't you? You know me too well. You can't really go wrong with any kind of stir-fried course, provided you season it properly to bring out some of those subtler tastes. There is a lovely burnt orange flavor in this amber brew, but it takes a combination of ginger, garlic, and dried red pepper to coax it out. The hops come out to play with these ingredients, and this I.P.A. does a lovely job of calming down the heat on your tongue after a hearty sip. Thank you kindly for watching. In the last month and a half, we tried mead and beer from the 3 most populous nations on the planet, but thankfully there are still so many more places to visit and brewed delights to try. Join me again soon for another beautiful work of malt and hops. Until then, ganbei.